Okay, for Ingrid and Gary, who weren't here yesterday, let's do the wrap-up.
Okay, well, I think the most exciting thing that I noticed, and I think that everyone is excited about, is, you know, the theme of this morning's keynote, monetization of digital media, that the terms monetization and digital media aren't mutually exclusive, that this is not an oxymoron. We can actually make money on the web through digital media, whether it's major global brands or, you know, just the average blogger that can actually, things like, we looked at technology of skim links, for example, that anyone can start to now make money from the web. Yesterday's theme was more about, you know, capturing audiences and who are these consumers, how do we find them, how do we appeal to what they want. I think the theme this year of having, you know, just the 10-minute speeches or the 20-minute keynotes, I think is a metaphor for sort of what's going on in the digital media landscape, where consumers want things right away. They want them, you know, when they want them, and they also want to be involved in them. They want the interaction, and that's another theme that I've really, the ubiquitous theme of Ubique, that I've noticed is that it's all about giving power back to the consumer, that, you know, consumers can tell when there's product placement happening, and so instead of the traditional, you know, the brands come in, they have product placement, that there's really a need to rethink traditional media and this marriage between the traditional media and the new media, and how it's possible that they can get along instead of just, you know, being two completely separate spheres.
It's a lot about, it seemed to be a lot about authenticity, and I like what you said regarding this whole idea that we need to sort of look at the consumer, that the consumer is not someone who doesn't know what's going on, and then we need to sort of understand how that's going to move forward. So on the monetization thing, I know you were saying this morning that you didn't see the Skimlinks presentation, but you do a lot of blogging, and then you went and checked out Skimlinks. I was really impressed by Skimlinks. You know, we've heard about it, but I didn't realize how in-depth and how easy they made it for people to make money online. What was your feeling?
Right, absolutely. I think that, you know, it's these companies that are popping up, and I think that's why this conference is so great, is because these are things that even people that are in this world and in this industry don't necessarily know about, all of the different forms of technology popping up. And I think what's interesting in terms of, you know, we're talking about the consumer, that I know, you know, Justice McGarry from FCC had mentioned that he tells everyone that he works with to treat the consumer like a friend. And I think that we're seeing this, you know, with Facebook and just the term, there's been a lot of themes, you know, around social media and how to make money through social media, how to use social media to get the brand name out. And I think the term social media is exactly this. It's the fact that, you know, it's talking to your friends, but pushing brands at them at the same time. And I think that there's a way to do that. And some of the companies that have been successful that have spoken here, they've figured out the juste milieu, the nice balance between, you know, throwing brands in consumers' faces and also treating them, you know, the talk about, you know, using American Express as an example and giving consumers a live experience. And it's first of all capturing audiences, figuring out what the consumers want, and then today I guess we'll hear about how to actually make money doing that.
We hope. I hope. I think that's why everyone's here, is to learn how to make money.
Right, but the fact that it's possible is new. And
now, okay, can I play the devil's advocate? I know you're the journalist, and normally you're the skeptical one.
Okay.
But I'm going to be the skeptical one because we've been talking about this for like, it seems like, well, almost, you know, Facebook's what, 8 years old? You know, and they really haven't made any money in 8 years. You know, online web video, people are saying, well, you know, there's so many people watching 2 billion views on YouTube, but people are making money, but they're just not making money the way in the numbers they used to, and you know, when you look at traditional media. I guess, is 2012 the tipping point for all of these things?
I think this is where people need
Because I just want to say, you go to a lot of conferences, so what's your overall feeling when you go, as you know, to the Hollywood Reporter, as the Hollywood Reporter to these conferences, and you know, see things, and what are the general themes that are coming out of that? Is it really that this is the year we're going to start to make money?
I mean, every year is the year we're going to start to make money for the past years, but it's obviously, you know, at the mid-markets, I mean, this is definitely a theme that's on everyone's mind and tongues, and I think it's really important to think outside of the box, and I think that's what the companies that have been successful have shown, that maybe today, okay, a company that is doing really well on Facebook, yes, they can monetize that and they can make some money from that, but it's really the fact of, you know, it's a way to gather a large audiences and then expand that to the traditional media. And this is where what I was talking about, how the marriage between traditional media and all of the modern digital technology really comes into play, because you can have, they were looking at that Sorted show that is a huge format, and it started on the web, and now they're doing TV, and it's expanding. And so I think the idea, I know you all hate the word transmedia here, but the idea is that
we do?
you use...
You're hearing people hate the word transmedia?
Well, I think it's just sort of a cliche now. I mean, it's been talked about
How
for
is
so
transmedia
long.
cliche?
It's because it's the theme that's been there for years and years and years, and everyone
but no one
keeps
knows what it means.
Right, exactly. And I think now we're really seeing that it's possible to, and it's not just before it was okay, so a YouTube sensation, then they get the word out, and a TV network picks them up, and then they do a book, and then now it's I think you can start as a TV show and then move to the web, and that, I mean, it's really the big musical star artists, instead of just discovering them from YouTube and then they grow a following, they now have to go to YouTube and to the web and to Facebook and to really branch out in order to expand their audiences and reach out to their audiences, because I think now everyone wants this insider aspect. It's it's not just watching a TV show, it's watching the TV show with your tablet, talking to your friends about it, talking to the stars. They'll come on Twitter and Facebook, and I think that people, as a consumer, I love if I tweet a star or someone that I really admire, and they write back to me. It's like, oh my God,
but
that's great.
it's not okay. So this is the thing. We started off this conversation. I do want to sort of wrap it up quickly. Is that we started talking about authenticity, right? Because that's essentially what we're talking about. Is this whole idea of consumers trusting brands and brands being authentic. A lot of these stars we know, right, have teams of people like that do all their tweeting for them. So when you get something back from a star and you realize it's not the star, like they
No, but consumers know. I think that and
do they really?
And but that part of the authenticity is the star hiring someone that can do that, and I think that's where the.
But you're okay with that. If you tweet a star and you get a tweet back and you're like, well, it might not be the star, but it sure sounds like them. You're okay with that?
Personally, no, but you can. But I now have authenticity radar, and I can tell who is who and what's
See,
happening.
I can't. You're better than me because I have no idea. I tweet a star. If I tweet a star, which I don't really do, well, let me think. Who would I tweet?
But that's what sets, I think, the brands and the stars and the talents that are the ones that are actually authentic. I think that's what sets them apart, and I think that's when this whole concept of branded entertainment. It has to be entertainment, but it's also they're selling a brand. A star is the same thing as any brand.
Good point. So last question. Last sort of 30 seconds here. Anything else you think that people in the audience should know that you sort of saw as an observer, as a journalist, that you think were important or that we should sort of bring to the top here?
I guess, there's so much, but I think, the overlap with the transmedia, I think the overlap between the music industries and it's hard now to identify, a format. And before you could say, oh, that's a TV show, but they also do some things on the web. And now it's just a format, or it's a star, it's a brand. Everything is a brand, and it's not just, this is on the web and then it moved to TV and this moved to music. Everything is overlapping, and it's very exciting.
I think the thing that shocked me most was, well, not really shocked me, but that I'm sort of just having to deal with, is that I think that people, when they talk about transmedia, are really realizing that to be a transmedia producer is not going to happen for another generation, right? Is that it is so complicated. You look at LP, who's coming up next, and some of the guys yesterday. He's a games guy. He knows gaming inside and out, and he's a transmedia person for gaming. But if I threw him into a TV studio and said, "You're doing the next, live with whoever, like Oprah," now he would probably pull it off because he's a really smart guy, right? Wouldn't you, LP?
Well, that's why conferences like this are important, because I think there needs to be an exchange of ideas and exchange of dialogue, and people.
Great idea.
No, but people that are. It sounds really cheesy, but it seems crazy that no one really talks about this before. It's the TV networks are in one corner, and everyone.
It's just surprising it's taken so long.
It's surprising it's taken so long. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's because the knowledge is so hard to get. You can't just become a gaming producer overnight. It's like you have to learn. Thank you very much for this. I really appreciate it. You around today, or you're around for a little bit?
Around a little bit, yeah.
And then you're heading off. Okay.